The selkies were known to step out onto rocky, violent grey ocean shores to dance in the midday silver sun in their human form. The women decided to put their seal pelts on the rocks. It was the day that they decided to enjoy their female bodies. And as they were dancing, they were really enjoying experiencing, feeling their human bodies in the hot, steamy sun, and were beginning to gain momentum for the dancing and the laughing and the singing, and they started to feel safe together. Ecstatic enjoyment of furious but free movement. The fishermen, maybe knowingly, decided to go on a long walk along the coast in the midday sun. When he spotted the sealskin on the ground, he knew it would belong to a selkie. He was intrigued. He wanted to touch it, and so he stepped down closer and picked it up. It smelt salty and damp, but it was quite comforting to him. Perhaps unconsciously, he thrust the skin into his backpack and carried on along his way, creeping around the corner. When he spotted them, the selkies, they were dancing in the sun so joyously, so happy. He knew he'd got the selkie skin, but still acting on intense enthrallment, he carried on, stepping towards them, drawn to their beauty. As he walked, he slipped on a rock, and the rock echoed across the cave. They jumped, looking nervous. They thrust their sealskins on and swam away. The woman left without her sealskin rushed around, nervously looking. He knew that he'd taken hers, stolen it, in fact, but he decided not to tell. He wanted to smell her sweet skin like he'd smelt her sealskin, and so he stepped towards her, beckoning, offering a big embrace. It made him feel good to protect this woman. It felt good to hold her like he held the skin of her pet. She was not easily deceived, but she did not know he held her sealskin and felt forced into a trust. He was so lustful and so loving. And she, although always missing something, enjoyed this feeling of being wanted.
In the one selkie story, the selkie woman whose skin has been stolen sits by the fire and weeps, and the man who's stolen her skin, his mother, cares for her. Because she feels sorry for her, and she's kind to her.
Yeah.
So they become a kind of a family unit.
They decided to have babies. And these babies, they grew up along the rocky, violent shores of grey and stony seas. And they managed to fill, slowly, this hole inside of her. It felt good to love and to pour herself into being a mother and responsible to her children. Although she felt the pain and the missing of the sea and the ferocious freedom of adventure of her life before her children, they gave her something, at least. As by intuition, she struck out on an especially violent, misty day onto the shores. She was daydreaming, guiltily nostalgic of her life before, when her children came bounding down the hill, holding this ragged, but still very silver, pelt. stomach ruptured like the sea below on the rocky edge, almost speaking for her. It was her skin, her seal skin. And she held it and she closed her eyes. She smelt the smell of adventure, of freedom, of the sea, of the old but real essence of her life before. But when she opened her eyes, she saw another life that meant responsibility and selflessness and giving perhaps too much. Was this love a sustainable type of love, a love wherein she could too embody the unpredictable, angry, sensitive parts of herself? She wasn't sure which one she wanted to choose, because she wasn't used to choosing. She waited a day and a night, thinking about which skin to inhabit, which skin to put on, who she wanted to be. And in the quiet of the night, and in the smoky mist that blanketed the shore, she took her silver grey sealskin downward and slipped the flesh back onto her legs. She could not resist the nature of her wilderness, and so must return to the sea.
Yeah, I do feel like this story is like trying to tell me something, even though I didn't realise what it was trying to say. And after I told it in the storytelling workshop, everyone was like, when I finished it, everyone said she made a choice. And like, it's quite cool how I as the narrator can also choose like the choice that she makes, but also choose to make that choice the important part of the story. And yeah, I think I really like how she shows that how there's a mirror to these like different worlds and these different types of worlds that somehow interlink in also shaping the way that you find yourself or you figure out things in your life that are important, just like the way the sea does that and the kind of ecosystem of the landscape which we are so part of, and how you can like look to it as a mirror instead of just looking into yourself.
So would you say it's like a personal awakening?
No, I was just trying to remember stories, and I was sat at my kitchen table trying to remember what childhood stories I was told, and I remembered the selkie story that my babysitter once told me when I was a child, and the story just came to me. It was so vivid in my memory, and I found it interesting how you remember stories more than other stories, and how the stories that you remember the most must be significant.
I like the idea of using it as like an allegory. Like, she chooses to go back into the natural world, and like she chooses to not live her human life because not like it's interesting because the guy that I speak to quite a lot, Tom Mule, he's like, she just has no choice. Like in some versions she even says to like the man, like, if you ever let me find my sealskin, like I will just return, because it's like I'm completely like incapable of not being part of the sea and part of like holding myself in this like human form.
So the selkie woman doesn't want to go back to the sea, but when she discovers her skin, she has to. She's got no power to resist. So you have to go back to the sea, and it's who you are, and you can't deny your nature.
Yeah, it's interesting because this story so defies what is usually said to be a woman's nature as well, which is actually such a hugely, I guess you could say, progressive, but also just like, yeah, is a hugely deep understanding that not all women feel that, you know, very comfortable being in this like domestic role, because she's never fulfilled by her children even though she loves them.
No means the first woman that has felt that.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's about losing your identity and getting it back again, becoming who you are.
That's what the story is kind of about, I think, like, because it's transition in loads of other forms. It's like transformation, which is like she can literally shapeshift as from like a woman into a seal. So there's that kind of mystical element of transformation and transitioning. But then there's also a point in which she is given this choice to stay or to leave, as there's kind of like an emotional change and transition into leaving something behind and starting something new, or returning to something, like belonging and finding where you belong. And yeah, I feel like the story for me is more about the ambivalence in the kind of inciting incident of finding her skin and then choosing to return and like reconnect with the wilderness and maybe her like true self, or the true version of herself.